What up and welcome into First Strike. Here we go. I got MMA Jeff, Subhuman Gaucho with me tonight to break down 3 fights to help you guys beat the books, get this early line movement, maximize our CLV and all the rest. We are down a man. We are the penalty killer. Our guy, Fanatical Jim, has some personal things to tend to, so we wish him the best of luck. We will hold down the fort and see if we can't find a way to make the bookies pay. Top or snap time this weekend here. We got 3 good ones, though, boys. What a UFC card we've had to start this year. Lots and lots of finishes. We're back to the baby cage. Jeff, does that get you jacked up?
No, it gets me jacked up. Hopefully we see some violence. We got 13 fights currently scheduled on the card. And we had a solid kick-ass weekend Saturday. Followed it up by the PGA on Sunday with NASCAR to tail it off. And I'm looking forward to this weekend to make some money. Check out the post tab over on the YouTube site at Sports Money. And I threw some golf plays out there, so make sure you get them in early because the round starts, I think, at like 7 or 8 a.m. on the East Coast on Thursday. So tomorrow, depending on when this video comes out. So make sure you check it out.
Well, we're going to be busy going around this weekend. We got some violence tomorrow, a Thursday live stream with some PFL. Finally get an opportunity to bring some combat to the middle of the week here. But this guy's been busy shooting videos, doing live streams, soccer show today. Subhuman Gotcha, how you feeling?
Great, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Las Vegas in the baby cage usually treats us pretty well. It's a great weekend for combat sports too, or week, I guess I should say. We got PFL, as you said, tomorrow. There's some one championship on Friday before we roll into this UFC card. So a lot to look forward to.
Well, it's time to go, gentlemen. We've got 3 bangers to get involved with here. This is going to be an interesting card. We were kind of talking collectively backstage about hard to try to find some outrights here. I think there's going to be some great dogs and some good live spots to get involved with here on the weekend. But it is time to get to work, fellas. We got ourselves some action to talk about. Make sure you guys do take some time, hit the thumbs up on the video, and, of course, put your favorite plays in the comments section. We love the comments. It helps us so much, but we're going to hear Jeff's comments here as he gets into this first fight. And excited to hear the breakdown, Jeff. The floor is yours.
This looks to be a solid welterweight matchup. We got Reese McKee versus Daniel Frunza. This one looks pretty even on paper. Both fighters about 30 years old. I think Frunza's like maybe a year older, but both fighters same height. They should come in at the same weight. The thing that stood out to me is McKee has a 5-inch reach advantage, but either way, Frunza is 9-2 as a pro. He's a 5-fight win streak right now. All those fights by KO. He's aggressive on the feet, moving forward, looking for the kill shot all the time. He's got power. He likes to show it. As I mentioned, he's got 5 KO victories in his last 5. He's just beating everyone up. He's not only good at he's not very good at defending takedowns. He hasn't really been proven as a wrestler either. Now, he doesn't really give his opponents a chance, given the fact that he's knocking them out in typically round 1 or round 2. He's come into the last 3 fights of his as a dog, and he's come out on top. I think he was plus 160, plus 210, and plus 100 something. So, I mean, the guy's been a dog, and he's been coming out winning. Now he's making his UFC debut. Can he handle the pressure? We know how these debutants do in the UFC coming in, and now he's the favorite in this fight. So this is going to be an interesting one for me. He also said in an interview he knows McKee's coming out there to beat him up, and he also said, "I predict a round 3 KO." So Frunza, look for him to go heavy in the 3rd round because he wants that KO. Now you got McKee on the other side. He's 13-6-1 as a pro, but he's got a terrible 0-4 record in the UFC. He entered the UFC in 2020. He fought some tough competition, Chimaev, and he ended up looking like shit in that fight. He lost by round 1. I think it was ground and pound. Either way, a round 1 KO. He followed that up with a UNAM loss to Morano. He ended up getting cut from the UFC. He went on a 3-year hiatus, fought 3 times in 3 years in Cage Warriors. He ended up finishing each and every one of those dudes. He got brought back for a second stint in the UFC, which he is currently in. His first 2 fights he lost, and he didn't really look great in that first fight. His second fight against Chimaev, he did seem to step it up a little bit. He did work on the grappling, pushing him up against the cage, and he lost by split decision. So he swayed some judges with his, with his grappling. He's got very crisp strikes. He's a decent grappler. As I said, he's working on it. He's very durable and he's got great cardio. Uh, like I said, that split decision loss, he really showed that he's stepping up his game. I think the time away from the UFC, and I mean, he's taken 4 tough matchups, and he's lost each and every one of them. I think this is his shot to get it back. We'll see what happens. He doesn't have the most dynamic fighting style, which I think plays into this fight here because I don't think Frunza's ever really fought a fighter of this caliber or with this experience. As I see it, I think Frunza's going to push forward, being the more aggressive fighter, and try to put him out early. Now, as I mentioned, he did say in the interview he wants to put him out. He's calling the 3rd round KO. We'll see what happens. I think he's going to come out aggressive. As a fighter, you typically wouldn't want to give your method of victory away or your path to victory away too early. But either way, I think he's going to come out early, pushing the pace. McKee could hold him off by mixing up the jabs, body shots, kicks, maybe slow him down, beat up the cardio a little bit. If McKee senses trouble, I can see him doing the cage grappling and just pushing him up, holding it, slowing him down a little bit, or shooting for a takedown. As I mentioned, Frunza's not the greatest at takedowns. He does give him up, even if he rocks you. You still have a shot to get in there, grab the legs, and take him down, and shake the cobwebs out as you're on top. Overall, I see McKee as the better striker, better grappler, connecting the more meaningful shots in this one, using his experience to outmatch the debutante fighter. And yeah, I'm going to go with the dog on this one. I got it at minus 148 as I was writing some notes down earlier. It now shifted to plus 148. It now shifted to plus 135. I'm rolling with the dog here. I think he's going to pull out the win and potentially save his UFC career from getting 3 losses in a row. So I'm rolling with the dog. It's going to bring us to Mike's fight at the co-main event, which I'm excited for. He's got Brito and Sabatini. Mike, how are we getting paid in this one?
Thanks, Jeff. Co-main event time, and it's funny. The last time we had a 3-man panel, it was a Sabatini fight that was already set up in there and pre-programmed. So, kind of thought it was funny that here we come full circle again. And Joanderson Brito, big favorite coming into this thing. Public loves this guy. And what do we see on the Sabatini side? Well, aside from the fact that the best fighters come from Philadelphia, we've got a ton of action coming in on Brito, and yet the line is starting to show some concern towards the Sabatini side, or at least that this number might have been a little too wide, Subclub, as we get into this thing here. And it is starting to come down. We look at these guys, and I just don't understand it. I'm looking at this thing. What I think about Brito, right? Everyone says this guy's a KO artist, and he's going to go out there. But at the same time, what happens? Well, one, he spends a lot of time on the ground. He spends a lot of time up against the cage. Not a guy that seems to be able to find his range and use that KO capability. We dig deeper and we see that, well, his last fight was a split decision loss. A lot of people thought Brito was the winner, but the judges came up with the cards, and it was Gomes that comes out there and takes the win. Now you look at this thing, and you peel back the onion a little bit. Since then, Gomes takes a split decision loss to Hyder Emil. And in fact, Brito, back in his career, he's got some split decisions against guys like Fire Marshal on top of that. The problem here is the distance striking, and neither one of these guys really seems to be able to find that distance. Brito, to me, just shows a tremendously low fight IQ. You're supposed to stand and bang, and yet you find yourself up against the cage and on the ground. And I think that low fight IQ is going to make him pay. You look on the other side of things with Sabatini. Look, this guy's not just a UFC animal. He's a Cage Fury fighting championship battler, 8-2 over there. He loves his submissions, ankle locks, arm triangle chokes. He's taken down Lucas Almeida. It should be a grappler versus a wrestler battle. But I think what's going to happen is both these guys end up on the ground, and we're going to see this thing tick away, tick, 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 tick. Again, I don't think that the losses that Brito has suffered have aged very well. I think this shows that there is some vulnerability out there, and this guy just doesn't know who he is. I think he gets confused. I said to the boys backstage, this is like one of those guys that, you start talking to somebody that's had a few too many cocktails, and you can see that they're looking at you, but they're not really looking at you. That's what we see with Brito after he comes out of this first round. This is a situation where I think he's a guy that finds himself in trouble. Sabatini, a lot of first-round finishes. He also gets beaten up in the first round quite a bit there. And the talk of the town is his chin. Is he going to be chinny? That's the first thing to go, and you can't rebuild it, which, again, forces this match to the ground. I think Brito probably does something stupid and gives his back up, and that's where Sabatini can thrive, at least in terms of the minutes and the ability out there. This is a great plus money opportunity when we see that we can catch a plus 205 to take Pat Sabatini Again, I think this is a situation where you got a guy that's just got experience. And when he gets into the nitty gritty and he's up against the cage or he's back on the ground, the experience reigns true. He's seen it before. He's been there. He's done that. Not to say that Brito hasn't done that, but I think there's enough here with Pat Sabatini to show everybody why Philly does have the best fighters. It's a great price tag. I expect this number, reverse line movement, to continue to come down as we get closer to fight night. This range will continue to shrink, and plus 205 is a great number to take advantage of right now. That's the way I'm going to get to the window. Pat Sabatini. We'll play some props as well. I know my guy Sub Club here did give some great opportunities that were a little bit mismatched in the books, which we'll talk about come Saturday. But this is a great spot for Pat Sabatini. Let's go Philadelphia. Let's go get this plus 205 price tag. And let's go to Sub Club. Let's hear Subhuman Gaucho talk to us about Davey Grant, a little Santos battle, and how is he getting paid in this one.
All right, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that breakdown, man. That is going to be a fun fight. I'm very much looking forward to it. Really smells like a lot of violence there. And I think this one smells like violence too. This one, bantamweight bout here. Davey Grant's taking on Daniel Wiley Cass Santos. This one smells like violence to me too. It's got fight of the night written all over it. On the one hand, you got Davey Grant, UFC veteran. It's kind of wild. 14-7, but he's got 13 UFC fights. He's done pretty well throughout the course of his UFC fight. 7-6. It's not a stellar record, but you look at his level of competition, it's pretty impressive. 3-3 over his last 6, but the losses have come to Daniel Marcos and Adrian Yanez, both by split decision. No shame there at all. Adrian Yanez a tough out, and nobody's really beaten Daniel Marcos lately. Other loss came to Marlon Vera, but he did make it the distance, which a lot of people are getting knocked out by Marlon Vera. No real shame there. High level former title challenger and whatnot. He takes on a very, very bright prospect in Daniel Wiley Santos. Santos, his big problem has been lack of activity. Had a lot of fights scheduled and fairly high level fights. Just hasn't been able to make it to the octagon. Hasn't really been able to make it to the scale more often than not. It does raise some questions and concerns. How healthy is this guy? Is he injury riddled and so on and so forth? But all that said, I think he looks very good on his Instagram and whatnot. By all accounts, he seems to be training very well. And he comes from a historic shooter box gym with a lot of talent. And he's been kind of known as the prospect down there. He's got a 9-year age advantage over Davey Grant. And Santos is just kind of one of these classic shooter box guys. Ton of attack. He's good everywhere. Like a lot of the shooter box guys, maybe less concerned with being defensively sound and more concerned with trying to finish the fight. And that's how I kind of see it going here. I think this is going to be a violent fight. I do think we see a finish. And I want to be on the favorite in Daniel Santos. I'm a little confused why the line came down as much as it did. I get it. I like Davey as much as anybody. But I think the public is on the wrong side here. Davey's a very popular dog this week. You look on a place like Tapology, for example, and he's got the super majority of tickets. And all of Tapology is picking both these guys to win by decision. I think somebody gets finished here. Davey's never been knocked out. Go back and watch the tape. This guy's been hurt in a number of fights, and he's 39 years old. Santos has won the vast majority of his fights the vast majority of his fights inside the distance. Most of Davey's losses have come inside the distance by sub. I think Santos can sub him. Wouldn't shock me if either of these guys gets knocked out, but I think Santos, the younger, quicker, more athletic prospect here, gets it done. I think he covers this minus 150. And at any rate, I think somebody gets finished. So give me this fight to end inside the distance at a plus 125. Looking forward to watching this one, man. I think it's going to be spectacular.
Thank you guys all for watching. Thank you guys on screen here, MMA Jeff and Subhuman Gaucho, being ready to go. We spent a lot of time talking about this card backstage as well, and wait for this UFC playbook. We're going to get this thing updated, ready to fire with you guys. We'll have a bunch of plays, sides, breakdowns. We're going to have some parlays in there as well. So this thing just continues to evolve as we grow. I think we're like 8 fights deep with it now, and definitely been a great tool to leverage as you prepare to get ready for UFC Fight Night Vegas 105. Emmett and Murphy will be live with you guys here Saturday, April 5th at 5:45 p.m. But that's not all. We got a big live stream tomorrow night, Thursday, with the PFL. Get ready. We got midweek action. It's going to be a ton of fun. I appreciate these guys on screen doing what they do. We're going to go do what we do on Saturday, but it's going to be a lot of fun. A busy week ahead. Thank you guys all. Smash the thumbs up. Hit the like button on the video. Put a comment out there with your favorite fighter of the night. That helps us a ton. And I want to say thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys real soon.